they call it refractory epilepsy. Basically, all the drugs that they've tried with her haven't worked. Good morning, sunshine. Even though it's not morning and you've already been out of bed twice already. You gonna get up again? Let's get up. What you saying, Raylan? What you saying? So we've gotten a lot of comments about asking us what RAELYNN'S diagnosis is, and she has been diagnosed with epilepsy, and they call it refractory. Refractory? Is that the word?
I think so.
Refractory epilepsy. And what that means is that she's drug resistant. Her strain of epilepsy is drug resistant. Basically, all the drugs that they've tried with her haven't worked. Or they've worked very, very minimally. They haven't helped a lot. What are some of the drugs we've tried?
She was on phenobarbital before we got her.
Phenobarbital, cerebral, developmental, Onfi, Keppra.
Keppra made her so tired at first.
Right. Which is interesting because a lot of people that I talk to online say that Keppra is their favorite. That one works the best for them.
It didn't do anything for her.
I feel like a lot of doctors are prescribing that one either first or second because it works so well for a lot of people. But for RAELYNN, it didn't.
Helped at first for a while, and then the help went away, and they wanted to increase the dose, and we did, and then she ended up not peeing, and it took us a while to get the doctors to take her off of it because it helped. They never wanted to take her off of it, but she was having side effects from it. And all those drugs had side effects. The only drug she's been on for seizures that hasn't had a side effect, well, it did. The CBD oil. The side effect is just that she has loose stools, which actually before CBD oil she was needing help to have stools, so it almost was a help. Then we increased the dose enough that it kind of is a negative side effect sometimes. CBD oil didn't really have a significant help on her seizures either. It did make her more alert. She's still on it because it's helped make her more alert.
Right. Here comes the train, so we either have to shout really loud or not talk for a while.
Take a break. It's the train.
You hear the train, RAELYNN?
That train is so long. So long.
So lots of people have also asked how many seizures RAELYNN has in a day. She used to have, just about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, she would have between 5 and 8 seizures a day. Tonic-clonic seizures. She has other seizures aside from tonic-clonic, but those are the easiest to keep track of because they're so explosive. And she was having between 5 and 8 of those a day.
We've been at that for sure.
And that's regardless of what medication she was on, that's pretty much how it always was.
Keto diet, they'd slowed down some.
Right, so...
It's varied. I don't think it's always been 5 to 8 a day, but that's definitely not an abnormal amount.
Right. Now, aside from drugs, she's been on other things like the keto diet. Now she's on a low-ish sugar diet. Not nearly as extreme as keto, but she's on a lower sugar diet. And she has a VNS. And those things seem to have helped more with her seizures more than any drug that she's ever been on.
Seizure drugs. Klonopin.
Klonopin helps.
Klonopin helps. And she's on that.
But once again, Klonopin makes her sleepy.
And you can get addicted to it, and it stops working as well. Like, you need bigger and bigger doses.
So she gets a dose of Klonopin at bedtime to help her sleep and not have seizures during the night. But we wouldn't give that to her in the morning because we wanted her to be awake. Otherwise, she would sleep all day. If she's having clusters of seizures, like 3 or 4 within an hour, then we'll give her an extra dose of Klonopin. And that'll help her seizures go away, but it'll usually put her to sleep too. So she's not, I wouldn't say she's so drug resistant that Klonopin doesn't work. Klonopin works.
I mean, even Klonopin, though, she got Klonopin yesterday for 3 seizures in an hour, and 30 minutes later had a seizure.
Right. So
some drugs help.
Some drugs help, but none of them have solved her seizure problem. They also say, and we don't know the exact percentages, but after you've tried 1 or 2 seizure-related drugs, the chances of a third one working
really low.
And
the chances of 4th is lower. Every once in a while, a doctor will offer us, hey, I think maybe we could try this drug. And I say, statistically, what's the chances it'll help? And they say, well, really, really small. And I say, well, we don't want to put up with the side effects. And they don't try to talk us into it because they know statistically it's really small, and the side effects are not small, and it can be hard to get her off of the drugs. Getting her off on fee was really hard. That's why we don't try more drugs unless there's a totally different class of drugs. I wouldn't mind trying THC right now.
For you or Raylan?
For Raylan. Right now, we don't have doctors comfortable with it, and it is important to balance your relationship with your doctors. THC for both contractures and seizures. Actually, more for this. I think doctors will be on board eventually.
Yeah. When Raylan first was trying CBD, we had somebody ask us, you guys should really try CBD, or
that was before she was on it. She was in foster care.
Okay.
We couldn't have her on it. She said, have you heard that marijuana can help seizures? And I was like, yeah, we've heard that. Interesting stuff going on in Illinois. They've just approved it, and it should be something that we should legally be allowed to do soon. But Raylan's in foster care. She's like, I mean, but it doesn't have to be legal. You know where to get it, don't you? I mean, can't you just get it and blow it in her face?
You can see it's just blowing it in her face.
And then we had another person ask us, well, if you put her on that, I mean, I understand why you're putting her on that, but aren't you worried about secondhand smoke for the other kids? And I was like, she won't smoke it. I don't know if they thought we were going to put a bong up to her mouth or what, but yeah, we had someone ask us about the other kids getting secondhand smoke of the weed.
Yeah. When she first started with CBD, it was Haley's Hope, and it would literally be drops. It wouldn't be very much at all, it seemed like, right? We put drops in her mouth.
I don't remember what the dose is. It might have been a couple mils. It was not nearly as strong a medicine as what Epidiolex is.
Yeah, and now she has Epidiolex, and she has 2 mils of it.
We were spending
3 times a day.
Over $300 a month on it and not seeing any results. And we had one neurologist tell us, you need to be spending $1,200 a month to get the right enough of that to make a difference. And we took her off it before her first hip surgery because you weren't allowed to take it at the hospital she was in legally. Like, they're like, you can't give it to her, no one can give it to her. It wasn't making a difference, so we weaned her off it right before surgery. I still think Haley's Hope is probably better than Epidiolex.
Why is that?
It's whole plant based and more natural.
Interesting.
But a pharmaceutical company didn't make it, and so that's not where the money is.
That being said, the thing that's helped her seizures most is definitely her VNS, I think.
And diet.
She went from having 5 to 8 seizures a day to now she averages between 2 and 3 a day, which is a lot better. And, I mean, obviously she still has seizures every day, so that's obviously not ideal.
VNSs rarely stop seizures.
Yeah.
VNS is for someone who says, I think they say in general you get like a third less seizures. If you get it, I think I could have that statistic wrong, but
I feel like there's a huge difference between 2 seizures a day and 5 seizures a day. They're so much more spread out. It's the difference between 1 every 2 hours and 1 every 4 or 5 hours.
Well,
you know?
And also you're talking about tonic-clonics, but just Raylan's more alert. Raylan can pay attention more. Raylan can tell us what she's thinking way more than before. And that's because if you would look at her EEG, it just looked like a bowl of spaghetti. Like, even when she wasn't having a seizure that you could see, her brain waves were just so disordered. And she hasn't had an EEG in forever, so I don't know how much better it is, but she can think clearer. Whether there's... When she's not having tonic-clonic seizures, it's just still, it helps her brain think clearer.
Yeah.
She can communicate better with us. And right now she says, I am bored, Dad.
Okay, so to wrap this up, Raylan having refractory epilepsy means that there's no treatment that will necessarily eliminate her seizures, at least that they found. There's nothing that we can do. Like, people will suggest in the comments all the time, have you tried this, have you tried that? Really, most of those meds and things, yes, we've tried. or we've tried something so similar that it's pointless to try it.
We could try a ton more meds. There's a lot of drugs, but statistically the chances of them working are so small and their side effects that it's not worth it for. That doesn't mean other people shouldn't use them. That doesn't mean they're not good.
Right.
It's just not a good choice
And
for RAELYNN.
we should definitely emphasize that everyone's different. Some people will be resistant to some drugs, and while other drugs will work great, and that's awesome. I hope that you guys will explore those things with your doctor. Just because a VNS works great for RAELYNN doesn't mean that's the only solution.
And surgery works, brain surgery works amazing for some people. Some people literally just need the part of their brain taken out that's having seizures, and our brains are amazing and they heal themselves. I mean, for some people, they don't even need drugs at all. Like, brain surgery sounds scarier than drugs, but I mean, it's less scary in some ways, I think.
Brain surgery has been extremely effective for a lot of people.
RAELYNN is a candidate. If we wanted, they would separate the two hemispheres of her brain. They have offered to do that, and they say it would make her seizures less intense because they couldn't, if it started on this side, it couldn't go to this side, or vice versa.
It would prevent it from being generalized seizures.
It would prevent it.
Generalized means whole brain.
Oh, but it would.
Focal means parts of the brain.
They're open to it. They definitely don't push it. They're like, if you want to do this, we will do it. It won't change the number of seizures she'll have. It would make them less intense. They so don't seem to push it that we just don't feel like it's
right.
a good risk. And her brain is more developed at this point. When you start, there is some risks.
If you have any questions about refractory epilepsy, ask your doctor. Don't ask us, because we only know when it comes to RAELYNN. But feel free to talk in the comments, things like that, and we'll answer whatever questions you have that we can answer. All right, RAELYNN, let's get you in bed, sweetie. All right, RAELYNN, ready to go back to bed? Here we go. There we go. Are you more comfy? You're smiling a little bit, aren't you? Mm-hmm. Got a little smile? Say, not much, Dad. Not much.